Shannon Sharpe is no longer with Undisputed. We all know this, right? We saw the farewell show. We did a show where a lot of people thought we clickbaited them. Funny enough, we didn't even think we just thought, a couple of, the people that work here at Dreamers Pro, we thought it was a pretty interesting thing that the guy walked off, the set without shaking Skip's hand and saying goodbye. We didn't see him anywhere else, hugging it up with anywhere else. We didn't see Skip at the send-off party where they were giving Shannon Sharpe donuts, and some people thought we were clickbaiting. But hey, people have a right to their opinion. We didn't think that that was the case. And given the fact that Shannon was out there saying that, liking tweets that said Skip was jealous of him, we didn't think that. But hey, everyone has a right to their opinion. So we know that Shannon Sharpe has left Undisputed. And ever since he left the show, we've been speculating two things, really. The first thing is, who's going to be his replacement? And we've yet to see who that person is. My hunch is that they're probably going to bring this guy or girl. They're probably going to they're going to debut them on their first show, probably maybe Monday or maybe the beginning of July. We'll have to wait and see. And then the second question is, where's Shannon Sharpe going to go? Right? A lot of us have been speculating about that. I certainly have. When the news came out that Shannon Sharpe was going to be leaving Undisputed, Stephen A. Smith put the word out there. He essentially said that he wouldn't mind having Shannon Sharpe on Undisputed. on ESPN First Take, to have him make guest appearances or periodic appearances, the same way you see Chris Mad Dog Russo or JJ Redick, Kendrick Perkins, Michael Irvin, who I'm not sure if he still goes there, but you pretty much he wants him to be a rotational guest. So Stephen A. Smith extended the olive branch. But then recently, I was listening to a segment from Marcellus Wiley's show. Marcellus Wiley, who I like, I'm sure a good amount of you like Marcellus Wiley, and he was talking about the Shannon Sharpe situation. Now, here's some background information that I think a lot of you guys need to know. First of all, when we're talking about Shannon Sharpe, if you go back to the information as it pertains to him leaving Undisputed, one of the wrinkles and the articles and publications about that story was Shannon Sharpe was leaving Fox Sports with his show Club Shay Shay. Now, Club Shay Shay, who I've seen many episodes, I'm sure you guys have seen many episodes. Club Shay Shay has 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube. Okay. Apart from that, the channel has generated 235 million views. And this is not including podcast downloads, which we don't know, which is a whole different game, podcasts pretty much add a lot of value to whatever you're doing. We're learning this now. We have a lot of big announcements that we have coming down the turnpike in terms of Dreamers Pro. A lot of things that we're excited about. We're just kind of getting through the paperwork here, so you stay tuned for that. We have a lot of information coming out pretty soon, and you guys are going to be seeing a lot of interesting things from this particular platform. So that's Shannon Sharpe. That's kind of what he's going with, right? And then I started to listen to what Marcellus Wiley had to say, and Marcellus Wiley introduced FanDuel as one of the players that could potentially get Shannon Sharpe. And to be quite frank with you, this wasn't even something that I was contemplating. So what we want to do is we want to play some clips from Marcellus Wiley's show, where he basically talks about the connection between Shannon Sharpe and FanDuel and how that could possibly be a thing. So take a listen to what Marcellus Wiley had to say here.
And Shannon Sharpe knows more than everybody because he knows what he's going to sign on to. Drops one of those coy tweets, one of those cryptic tweets that ain't so cryptic, right? And the tweet on Monday said that he'll be back on morning TV soon. Well, that tweet drew nearly 14,000 likes and 1.3 million views. And he has a deal with FanDuel that will make strategic sense for both Sharpe and the giant sports betting operator. We'll talk about why that would make so much sense. All right. So right now there's a timing issue going on for guys that want to do major media or just want to land them a job, especially when their bread and butter is football. Now, his is football by people's perception of him. And even though he is a LeBron fan, a Laker fan, and he got all them funny Uncle Shayisms, he's still known as a football guy. Now, that's his bread and butter. The difference between Shannon and I, other than millions and millions of views, now let me stop. The difference between Shannon and I is that at my core, I am not a football fan guy like that. I am a guy who loves life and uses football as an expression, right? So it was a means to an end for me. But knowing guys like Shannon, they were all in terms of the analysis, in terms of them coming back to it. I like to interject and intersect life and sports a lot more than just Shannon Sharpe and other guys. Fine, just different lanes, right? So for me, there wasn't a sense of urgency to run and do some more football because one, as Mike Tirico and I had this great argument / discussion, I just can't talk about third and goal, dog. And he loves it. And he's like, I swear by it. I love being in the stadium. And it's that moment. And I'm like, all right, that's it. That's why you Mike Tirico. The great. So Shannon Sharpe has that timing issues. Time to go figure this thing out real fast, right? And butter that bread, as they say. Also, he got Club Shay Shay in tow. So do you throw that part of the deal? Do you not? Do you keep that back? Whatever you do with that, that is a valuable asset. 1.2 million followers. So he's bringing that a part of the deal as well. Got early. He got in there early. He was the first one at FS1 to do that deal, right? So you got to reward him as well because he took that risk because everybody else was doing shows. And then they were like, why is Shannon doing another show? You know, as I told you guys before, that was not the norm. I signed a deal in 2018, not a single conversation about a podcast, even though at the crib, I was starting to develop one at home just because all my friends was like, dog, you hide too much of who you are. You're not really the sports guy fully. Like you're a life guy who's talking sports. So, Shannon got in there early, and then you see Nick, Wright, Skip Bayless, etc. Joe Klatt, everybody over there now has one, but none as big as Shannon Sharpe's. So if he became one of the FanDuel TV spokespeople and one of their announcers, he would be one of the biggest, if not the biggest on there.
So you heard what Marcellus Wiley had to say, right? Now, let me first of all react to what he's saying. FanDuel and a lot of these sports books are major players because it seems like these guys have a limitless amount of money to spend, right? It seems like they're really trying to make a push to get their name out there. And I think that a lot of these sports books, they're going to start to put pressure on a lot of these major networks to basically increase the value of the guys that they're paying on their shows. I mean, basically that's what's happening. Think about it. If Shannon Sharpe was on Undisputed, and let's say he was earning $5 million a year, and a company like FanDuel is like, I can pay you $10 million a year. What does that do? Apart from the fact that it appreciates Shannon Sharpe's value in the market, but it also appreciates people that do similar things to Shannon Sharpe. It appreciates their value in the marketplace as well. And it's going to force these bigger companies to now come up with bigger checks to pay these guys, right? That's the first thing. Now, I do have a little bit of pushback on Marcellus Wiley's assertion. Not to say that I know more about this situation than Marcellus Wiley. I'm not saying that because Marcellus Wiley actually knows Shannon Sharpe. So if you guys didn't actually see that full segment, go check it out on his channel. But there was a tweet that was actually put out there a few days ago on Twitter. It was published on June 19th. And Shannon Sharpe tweeted, I'm enjoying my early morning workouts, late breakfast, and break from wearing a suit every morning. But just for a little while. I'll be back on television in the mornings soon. So there you have Shannon Sharpe saying that he could potentially make a return to television, right? So if Shannon is making a return to television, then how is the FanDuel thing going to work? Because FanDuel, I'm assuming he would need to be doing things on an independent basis, which brings me to the Pat McAfee contract. I want to touch on it a little bit from an article here that we got from, where is this? From Sports Illustrated. So let me just read a little bit of this. It says, lessons, fallout from Pat McAfee's monster deal with FanDuel. The article continues on. Widely popular radio show / YouTube show host Pat McAfee announced Thursday that he has signed a new deal with FanDuel for an absurd amount of money. It's a 4-year deal with an opt-out after 3 years, and according to Shams Charania, FanDuel will be handing over roughly $30 million a year to McAfee, who never made even close to that much during his punting days with the Colts. Shams Charania. It's roughly $30 million per year deal. It's roughly $30 million per year, the industry sources say. Ian Rappaport, Thursday, Pat McAfee show FanDuel have agreed in terms to a new deal, ensuring that FanDuel continues to be exclusive sports book of the show. It's a 4-year, massive deal that includes an opt-out after 3 years. So that's the type of money we're talking about. And I think that's the point that Marcellus Wiley was making, which essentially was, hey, listen, there's going to be a lot of free cash hanging around. And when you have a guy like Shannon Sharpe, who's one of the most popular sports analysts in the United States, when he becomes a free agent, companies like this that have tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars to throw at talent, they could possibly throw it in the direction of Shannon Sharpe. And you heard everything that he had to say about the tweet and everything. And you also heard about what he said in terms of putting out a post, how much they charge and all of that. So to me, it's very, very in depth. It's very, very interesting. I think a lot of us have to wait and see how this thing kind of pans out. I'm going to be very interested to see maybe Shannon Sharpe has some type of modified situation where he has his own show, maybe he's sponsored by one of these big companies, and maybe he's making appearances on television. I don't know. I think we all have to wait and see how that turns out. So really the question to the audience is simply this. How do you think this thing ends up working out for Shannon Sharpe? Do you think he signs with a major company? Do you think he goes back to television full time?